Are you a Jew? That's all she needed to know. The nurse had been tasked with finding a Jew, any Jew, so that the soldier that she was caring for at the end of his life could clear his conscience before he would die of the wounds he sustained while participating in the death horror of the Holocaust. Karl, the soldier, was a Nazi. Simon Wiesenthal, plucked for this task from among the crowd on his work detail, was indeed a Jew. In his 1969 work, The Sunflower, Wiesenthal famously described stepping into this Nazi soldier's hospital room in the midst of one of the most horrific and impossible situations the Jewish people has ever confronted, even when the Jew that the nurse was searching for may as well have been nameless and might as well have been faceless. We gather together this morning at the precipice of this new year, bidding farewell to a year that has been for the Jewish people filled with pain and devastation and heartbreak and fear and disorientation and alienation. There was, of course, the tragedy of October 7th. But on this Yom Hadin, this day of judgment, when our tradition teaches that God, the ultimate judge, judges us for all of the good and the bad and the ugly of who we are as individuals, each unique in this world, I can't seem to let go of the tragedy that came the next day, October 8th. It was then, the day after, that the world reminded us that whether we like it or not, there are a whole lot of people out there who don't bother to know us as the complex human beings that we are, but rather judge us as nothing other than Jews, who may as well be nameless and might as well be faceless. And so I ask all of you today, are you a Jew? If this question makes you uncomfortable, you are not alone. In the spring of 2017, the New York Times published an article by the Jewish journalist Mark Oppenheimer entitled, "Reclaiming Jew." In it, Oppenheimer explored the discomfort that many of us have using that word. Jewish, the adjective, yes, but Jew, the noun, not so much. Writes Oppenheimer, "For centuries, those who have hated us have happily referred to us as Jews, the noun, while we have a tendency to stick with the adjective. I am Jewish, or I am part of a Jewish family, a Jewish community." He continues, "Jews, like other minority or marginalized groups, are entitled to a noun to call our own." Now, I must be honest. I have long been uncomfortable using that noun to describe myself. But in recent years, as I drove under signs over the 405 that said, "Kanye was right about the Jews," or I heard chants beckoning from Charlottesville saying that Jews will not replace us, or when my social media feed put hashtags in front of countless phrases that butting the word Jew up against some other hate-filled word, I began to rethink my discomfort. Lest those who seek to keep us at arm's distance have a monopoly on this phrase, this season of reflection comes back every year. It is, in fact, the perfect opportunity to decide just how willing we are to boldly and proudly take ownership of it ourselves. Not just the word, but the identity. Are you a Jew? And by extension, what does being a Jew actually mean to you? The answer is ours, not theirs, to give. And the definition is ours, not theirs, to determine. And if you are one of the many, many people who are not yourself Jewish, but you care enough to support a Jewish family and a Jewish community, then the question is yours as well. Thank you for showing up to do your part in bringing the answer. Now, it has never been easy to be a Jew. The last year has been yet another painful reminder of that. But the fact that you are here today, in this sanctuary or online, tells me that you know what I know, that despite the challenges, to be a Jew, the noun, is a gift. Ours is a tradition built on actions, verbs. To be a Jew is to hold firm to the core Jewish belief that the world can be better than it is right now, and to stand ready and willing to do something to make it a reality. To be a Jew is to believe that everyone, those like us and those who are not like us, everyone is truly created in God's image, and then to act in a manner that supports that. To be a Jew is to embrace the notion that we are part of something so much bigger than ourselves, and thus to insist on living Jewish life in community. To be a Jew is to recognize the potential to elevate everything that we do with holiness, and then to stop when stopping is what's needed to make the time and the space to make that happen. Now this year, when you have added not one Leah to your rabbinic team, but two, I am here to proudly represent and to propose an additional answer to the question of what being a Jew means. It is embedded in the biblical story of our matriarch, Leah, in the very place that the name that all Jews share is first identified. In the book of Genesis, the compulsion of our matriarch, Leah, to carry on the covenantal line was absolutely overwhelming. And after giving birth to her fourth son, she declared unabashedly, "Hapa'am odeh et Adonai." This time, I will thank God. Therefore, she named him Yehuda, the Torah says. Yehuda in Hebrew, in English, Judah, the namesake of the Jewish people. Because we come to her story year after year, we already know that it is filled with heartbreak and struggle and self-doubt that emerge from her basic and overwhelming desire to be loved by Jacob. Yet the rabbis of the Midrash teach that when Leah stopped and recounted the children that she had borne to that point, she could finally see that she was indeed loved. She was satisfied, content with her lot, and she was grateful. The words that she spoke in that moment of awareness mark the very first time in the Torah that we encounter gratitude to God. Odeh, Todah, Yehuda, thanks, gratitude, being a Jew. Finding it, even when overwhelmed by despair, is woven into the very name of our people. What a beautiful and simultaneously daunting challenge it is to be a Jew. Over a decade ago, Rabbi Shai Held, president and dean of Hadar Institute of Jewish Learning in New York, wrote about what this challenge meant for the Jewish people of that time. It's one thing to be grateful when everything is wonderful, when all of our dreams have been fulfilled and all of our hungers sated, he wrote. But it is quite another to be grateful when life is complicated, when some of our most cherished dreams have remained painfully unrealized, when some of our yearnings are so intense that they threaten to burn right through us. He continued, disappointment need not preclude gratitude, just as gratitude need not crowd out disappointment. Judaism does not ask us to choose one feeling or the other, but makes space. Indeed, seeks to teach us to make space for the sheer complexity and contradictoriness of human experience. If ever there was a year to make the space for the complexity and contradictoriness of human experience, when dreams have gone unrealized and yearnings have threatened to burn right through us. October 7th, the terror of Hamas. October 8th, the horror of the alienation that came when the world we thought we knew turned away. For every day since then, I have attempted with every fiber of my being to wake up to gratitude for being a Jew, for the ability to engage in Jewish life, for the blessings that remain. I'll be straight with you. Some days I have felt it and others not so much, and my guess is that I am far from alone in that. But the beauty of being a Jew is that there are no illusions that it will come easily all the time. Like so many other things in Jewish life, it's actually not about how we feel, but rather about what we do, whether we're feeling it or not. It is a practice that takes practice. I'm convinced that this is one of the lessons the shofar comes to teach us today. We hear it over and over and over again. To be precise, on Rosh Hashanah, the shofar calls to us a full 100 times. We may very well need every one of the tekiyahs and shvarims and truahs to help us stop and recognize that even when unrealized dreams are all we are able to see, blessing remains. So much to be grateful for. As it always does, Yom Teruah, Rosh Hashanah as it is often called, will draw to a close and the shofar will once again go silent. And as happens every year, that challenge will persist 100 times over. For that is how many times the medieval sage Maimonides taught that we are obligated to stop every single day and practice gratitude, and to name it a blessing. I have a funny feeling that Maimonides, who was both a rabbi and a physician, surmised then that what modern science has proven now, that walking through this world, holding on to the blessings that remain, while simultaneously making space to mourn all that has been lost, may be difficult to achieve, but it is certainly attainable, and it is good for you. Stronger immune system, fewer aches and pains, lower blood pressure, better sleep, you get the idea. 100 audible reminders today to count 100 blessings every day. In our prayer book, there exists a litany of blessings provided for us to recite every single morning. They're blessings for what the sages have deemed daily miracles, things that are there whether we stop to acknowledge them as blessings or not, like opening our eyes and standing up straight and getting ourselves dressed. If we recited them all, we would be well on our way to 100. There were multiple times since October, in the weeks and months after October 7th, when I was working with groups of preschoolers at the synagogue where I was serving, that I found myself asking their teachers to bring them up and meet with me in the garden or on the playground outside of their normal class spaces. Group by group, I gave them the same assignment. Leave whatever you were doing before you came here behind and pay attention. Just stop and pay attention. And then I asked them to focus and identify one specific thing, anything that they were thankful for, something that they saw as a blessing. For them, it came so naturally. For the caterpillar sitting on that leaf, for the bird that just landed on that wire, for the slide, and for the swing, and the tricycles, for those really loud sirens on the ambulances that are speeding by, for the ambulance drivers, for the ambulance doctors, for my teachers, for God, for being a Jew. Amen. In the moments when gratitude felt to me to be so remote, to the youngest among us, it was brimming at the surface. Their ability to offer it was good for them, and it was good for me, because on those dark days, I needed them to guide me in my practice of being a Yehudah, a Jew, grateful for all of the good that remained. Being a Jew may be a noun, but living as a Jew is a verb demanding action. It is about coming face to face with the blessings that remain by leaning in and engaging with our tradition and our community. It is about showing up to volunteer or to sing in a choir or to study Torah or to help with a Purim carnival or to host an event or to travel to Israel or to pray or to support others who want to pray. It's about dancing on Simchat Torah and packing and distributing meals at the Karsh Center on Sunday mornings. It is about celebrating being part of a Jewish community where you matter because you actually do matter. None of us can predict what awaits us in this new year. But if the events that are quite literally unfolding as we sit in this sanctuary this morning are any indicator, we would be wise to embolden ourselves by living Jewish life the way we define it, and to claim our name, Jew, with pride, knowing that it means that we are obligated to practice gratitude even when it feels elusive, especially when it feels elusive. There is one more of the blessings of daily miracles that our sages deemed worth highlighting every morning and is particularly poignant on this first morning of the new year 5785. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Blessed are you, God, ruler of the universe, for making me a Jew. To be a Jew, able to practice gratitude amidst the complexity and contradictoriness of human experience, is indeed a blessing worth taking hold of. Let us together take hold of it. Amen.